What's going on? Welcome to another daily digital download with me, your host, Dylan Grabowski. Well, I don't know what to say, folks. Strategy's imploding. The Ethereum Foundation's co-executive director has stepped down. We've seen another hack. The world is ending. The prices are going down. But the U.S. won their World Cup game last week. So at least there's a little bit of hope there, eh? We don't have a lot of time today, so I'm not going to sugarcoat everything that's going on. But yeah, I mean, look, honestly, just classic bear market things that continue to happen. So if you're worried, if you're fretting, don't worry about it. Don't fret. This is normal. We're seeing some crazy things happen, like the state of Illinois charging a 0.2% tax on crypto transactions. But let's just get into the meat of today's show, cover what's going on in the broader blockchain and crypto space, the good and the bad. Let's start with the ugly. Hsiao-Wei Wang is leaving the executive director position of Ethereum Foundation. She co-executive directed with Tomasz Stańczyk, who left in February. This is yet another high-profile individual that is leaving the EF in 2026. We are nearing 10, I believe, if not more at this point. And 20% of the high-profile figures that have left are indeed individuals that were the executive directors. Wild. That being said, I think it's obvious the Ethereum Foundation is choosing to take a new perspective and direction in guiding the growth of Ethereum. And we should also take a step back as Ethereum supporters, maximalists, believers, or just watchers of the ecosystem. The EF holds something like 0.16% of the total ETH supply. They delivered everything that was mandated to the EF when Ethereum was created. They delivered all of their mandates in 2022. So, yeah, it stinks to see these changes in the Ethereum Foundation, but also they're no longer the single entity that is tasked with growing Ethereum anymore. They can choose to focus their efforts in a crops manner, if that's what they want. Censorship resistance, on-chain permissionlessness, and privacy. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So we shouldn't be freaking out, and we shouldn't be throwing stones at Ethereum Foundation. We're just entering a new era. And for all of those who are concerned about Ethereum because of these shakes up at the Ethereum Foundation, don't be. Ethereum has the most amount of on-chain RWA capital. Ethereum has the most amount of stablecoin liquidity. Ethereum has the most amount of developers building that ecosystem. And Ethereum has the most adoption with the biggest players in traditional financial ecosystems. So I wouldn't use this as a reason to jump ship or to start taking out your pitchforks and getting mad at the Ethereum Foundation or anything like that. This is just a natural growth, I think. And so Hsiao took a sabbatical. She's leaving. And she said, Ethereum has always been bigger than any one role, any one organization, or any one moment. Its strength comes from those who keep building permissionless infrastructure across the ecosystem to unlock freedoms that didn't exist before. Best of luck to you, Hsiao-Wei, in your new venture. And I hope you don't get a lot of flack or hate from the crypto space in general. Let's go on into other news. We are watching the shutdown of yet another DeFi platform, another blockchain project, another crypto project is shutting down. We are continuing to see bear season 2026 play out. And now Satori Finance, that raised $10 million in 2022, I believe. May of 2022 is shutting down. They were a multi-chain DEX, and they're encouraging their users to withdraw their funds during a closing window that will stay open until July 16th. You have less than 1 month to get your assets off of Satori Finance if you have them on there. Quick, get on the life raft, because I know a lot of folks aren't going to. And unfortunately, what happens in crypto is people allocate into an ecosystem, into an asset, and then they don't check it for years. And there's going to be, unfortunately, a lot of people who come back in 6 months, 8 months, 15 months, 2 years, asking what the heck happened and where their assets on Satori Finance went. If you or anyone you know has assets on there, reach out to them. Let them know to get them off. Get them off. This is not the only crypto protocol. Botanics last week shut down, but Botanics was a Bitcoin-oriented L2 dedicated to providing yield. And so this is just happening, folks. Like, this is what happens during bear markets. And I think the thing that's so frustrating for a lot of people is, even though we're seeing regulatory advancements and policy talk at the high level and institutional adoption, ETH and Sol are trading at levels that haven't been seen since the last bear market, 2022. And now people are starting to feel like things are getting hopeless. But I think the phrase that it's always darkest before dawn comes into play here. Because we literally are almost at the bottom of the bear market. We are 8 months in to when the bear market started. We're almost at complete capitulation, and then we can start the slow, long grind upward back into bull market territory. So yeah, Satori raised $10 million in May of 2022 with a seed round led by Polychain Capital and with participation from Coinbase Ventures and Jump Crypto, among other notable backers. There were instances on Polygon, ZK EVM, which is shutting down, Zirkit, BNB Chain, Arbitrum, Skull, Optimism, and others. RIP to Satori. Once again, you or your friends, get your assets off. Now, I think anybody who's been on crypto Twitter for the past 2 or 3 quarters will remember the crackdown on platforms like Quacks, Wallchain. Gosh, what were the other InfoFi platforms? I'm totally drawing a blank on the others. Zeet was another one. Kaito. There we go. And Twitter went after them and basically cut off the ability for them to extract information from Twitter to build leaderboards and dashboards. And that was the era of everybody rising up against AI slop. Well, I thought that this news article was, gosh darn it, was interesting today because EarnOS is launching an anti-AI slop app and raised $6 million from 1KX Circle and Coinbase. EarnOS is a digital advertising startup, and they're emerging an Eero app coming out of beta. And Eero is designed to help brands verify human traffic, reduce wastes caused by bots, and reward, quote, authentic digital behavior, end quote. It'll be interesting to see how they're able to tell bots and AI slop from regular human slop. The 2 long form tweets I've posted in the past 2 days, I wrote them by hand. And even as I'm reading them, they look like AI slop to me. We can't even differentiate anymore between the two, because what is train of thought writing versus AI slop? Maybe if but for a few authoritative statements that AI agents make and that AI models make when they're writing, but otherwise it's quite difficult to tell. So it'll be interesting to see what EarnOS is able to do. if you are in the US, live in Illinois, or just hate shitty policy in general, then I've got something good for you. Illinois Governor Pritzker has signed a 0.2% crypto tax into law that will take effect January 1 of next year. Some are calling it, quote, the most punitive digital asset tax in the country, end quote. And this will basically charge 2% on the value of digital asset transactions or services provided to Illinois customers. This is part of the fiscal year 2027 budget planning. The tax will take effect at the beginning of the year and will primarily target service providers like exchanges, custodians, and brokers that must now collect and remit the tax, not unlike sales taxes. Now, the tax is not designed to be peer-to-peer, meaning a peer-to-peer transaction can't be taxed. But that doesn't mean that we're out of the doghouse yet, because a lack of clarity and specificity in the act could make it possible to misinterpret at a policy level at the state, regulatory level at the state. It could make it difficult. Oh my gosh. I did not realize that we weren't ever able to leave comments in the chat. So many times people might have wanted to comment, but couldn't. Yeah, that's not to say that policymakers and regulators can't misinterpret the wording in the bill and apply this to your transactions. Of course, if that happens, then we have to go through a whole legal battle to say that that's not allowed, and it'll be a huge source of frustration. Congratulations, Illinois. You have become anti-crypto. For anyone who might remember the 2021 Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, there was a lot of wording slipped in at the last minute, not unlike the wording that was slipped into the housing bill yesterday. But there was a privilege tax on brokers and other service providers, and this law resembles several recent bills that the crypto industry has opposed, most notably the broker rule. Now, the Illinois law will encompass, like I said, exchanges, custodians, platforms, wallet services, and other businesses with either a physical presence in the state or over $100,000 in gross annual receipts from Illinois customers. It appears that crypto is being singled out in violation of several federal laws for this tax, and that there is effectively no comparable state financial transaction tax on stocks, bonds, or derivatives anywhere in the country. So, your assets are being targeted, and this is possibly unlawful. Add it to the long list of battles that that blockchain is having at the federal and state level in 2026. If you're on crypto Twitter today, you're seeing everybody FUD. And I'm not using FUD because there might actually be some real programmatic issues with MicroStrategy and Stretch. But this is all everyone's talking about, how Strategy's STRC preferred stock is about to unwind. And this was written yesterday. So it's broken from its pegged price even more than $89. So the Stretch preferred stock is designed to pay a high dividend while maintaining a stable price of around $100. And yesterday was trading below $90. Today it was trading below that. And it's basically a Bitcoin-backed equity that's issued by Strategy, where when you hold STRC, you passively earn 11+% yield on that. It acts like a high-yield digital credit, which currently is paying around 13% effective rate, doled out as a cash dividend to holders semi-monthly. It was designed to maintain a stable price of around $100 through monthly rate adjustments. And how that's done, when it's above par, when it's above $100, Strategy issues new shares to buy Bitcoin. And now that Strategy has paused issuing new shares, while Stretch trades at a discount. According to some market watchers, though, the stock tends to dip during periods of Bitcoin volatility. So there might just be external factors that are causing the price of STRC to go down. But that being said, it does not mean that people will not pile on and dunk on Sailor today and on strategy while kicking a man while he's down. Congratulations, CT. You guys just love to pile on and trauma dump on people. This being said, analysts including Benchmark and TD Cowen have rebutted fears that these sales that Strategy did last month of 32 Bitcoin and general market weakness would lead to a death spiral for Strategy. Long story short, once the price of Bitcoin goes up, then this is no longer an issue for Strategy. That being said, Sailor Man, maybe don't be so degenerate. How about that? Maybe stop issuing new shares of Stretch to buy more Bitcoin. We get it. You love Bitcoin. You're a Bitcoin bull. But come on, man. Maybe bear markets are times to calm down a little bit and not be so aggressive. Moving on, Aztec has experienced its second hack in 3 or 4 days. Both hacks worth approximately $2 million each. And the second hack that happened is an exploit in a deprecated payments product. Make note of that, deprecated payments product. PeckShield estimated the exploit drained around $2.165 million worth of crypto, including 1.2K ETH, 150K DAI, and some Ren Bitcoin. This is the second exploit affecting the deprecated Aztec infrastructure in 4 days, which followed a separate attack on the immutable Aztec Connect smart contract on Sunday that drained around $2.1 million. These attacks appear to be related to a similar exploit. The second one is a different pool. And the Aztec Foundation stressed that there are no links between this product and any smart contracts related to the current network or the Aztec ERC20 token. The exploited product, an immutable stage 2 rollup, was deprecated 4 years ago. So, if you're seeing people FUD Aztec right now, just ask them if they're aware that the exploit is taking place on a deprecated chain. That's the first thing. The second thing, why were there still $4 million on a deprecated chain? Questions to ponder. That being said, the Aztec team is cracked. I have had Zach on the podcast. I've met Claire, the chief marketing officer. They're a great group of people, and Aztec, for its negative moment in the sun right now, really is compiled of cracked out devs and is really truly trying to build something that is necessary, privacy and scalable solutions on chain. So don't pile on to a team that is having a negative moment of PR, and try to understand what the instances are of how they're being attacked and where, because the damage isn't as bad as many would have you think. Last two pieces of news. Alchemy has unveiled a Visa-powered virtual payment card for AI agents. It's called AgentCard, and it's a card and identity solution designed to enable AI agents to operate autonomously in the real world. This was built via an integration with Visa Intelligent Commerce. The virtual cards will support tokenized card payments and crypto accepted by merchants alongside emerging agent payments protocols like X402 and Stripe's MPP. AgentCard follows a growing number of similar products, many of which are using Visa's payments infrastructure. Alchemy's AgentCard will also include, much like other of the slew of agentic payment solutions that are emerging in Q2 of 2026. Alchemy's AgentCard will feature built-in spend controls and will allow users to set merchant restrictions, per transaction limits, and budgets, among other guidelines. The system will default to Visa-issued tokens, but will support crypto or emerging agent-native payment protocols when available. Look, this is just what is happening in 2026. We are building for AI agentic solutions, Credit card companies see where the puck is going and they are skating there. Credit card companies are building blockchain rails and are building for agents to operate on our behalf and pay for boring things like my electricity bill or my mortgage or my credit cards every month. So super cool to see that Alchemy is getting into this arena and is trying things out. And then, folks, the last piece of news. Let's just call a spade and say that we're in a bear market and Bhutan is selling. Or at least it looks that way. Bhutan has moved 533 Bitcoin valued at $34.5 million to Binance, which could precipitate selling. This is the latest movement. Bhutan has moved a ton of Bitcoin this year. They were one of the first countries to kind of become the darling of the laser-eyed Bitcoin maxis, because unlike the top countries that hold Bitcoin, Bhutan got theirs by mining, not by confiscating. The remaining amount of Bitcoin that Bhutan holds is 1,749.96 Bitcoin, which is a decline of approximately 11,250 Bitcoin from its October 2024 peak of 13,000 Bitcoin. So, yeah, bear market things, rough to see negative news, but hey, this is how it goes. If you want to survive in this asset class, in this vertical, in this industry, in this technology, you have to be like a cockroach, and you have to be able to tighten your belt when things get tough. And 2026 is a things get tough year. But if you survived 2018, if you survived 2022, you sure as hell can survive 2026. And so, folks, with all that said, I have to go exercise before I carry on with my day. Today's a busy day. So I'm glad that you could tune in. If you're available to tune in right now, thank you very much for that. For all of those of you in the future who are going to tune in, thank you. I appreciate you. If you have not yet, please subscribe to The Smart Economist at thesmarteconomist.beehive.com. It's a weekly newsletter. We won't spam you. We won't sell you anything. And with all that said, thank you, folks, so much for tuning in to the Daily Digital Download for Thursday, June 18th. I hope your World Cup team is winning, and if not, I hope you're not too distraught about it. With all that said, go touch grass, turn off your computer. Don't get caught up in whatever the hype is on CT right now, because bear market things are just going to lead to bear market activity, and bear market activity leads to salty boys. And we don't like salt. We like envisioning a beautiful, positive future that blockchain and crypto can give us. All right, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace. Have a beautiful day.